Alright, guys, I'm here to review the November the 1st, 2019 edition of SmackDown. Now, why am I reviewing this show when I said the draft episode of SmackDown would be the last SmackDown review I do? Well, last night we got the best SmackDown of the entire year, bar none, and due to a lot of on the fly booking because this show had the potential to be a car crash, which was intriguing to me anyway, given that the majority of the WWE roster is stuck, SmackDown's roster was stuck in Saudi Arabia and, like, didn't even get back to the States till, like earlier today. So, what was SmackDown going to really do? So, you know, So we open that there's a commentary change for tonight, and it's for one night only. Since Michael and Corey Graves were stuck in Saudi Arabia, we have Renee Young, Tom Phillips, and Aiden English on commentary for the night. And this was an interesting commentary team. The first segment of SmackDown has Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman show up. Okay? And Brock Lesnar is angry. Now, Brock did not have to show up on SmackDown, so props him for doing it and helping out the company here. But we find out that Brock's angry and upset because he wants a match with Rey Mysterio. And during this entire segment, the WWE actually showed the entire match of Brock and Cain Velasquez at Crown Jewel. So if you missed Crown Jewel or didn't watch it, you at least saw one match if you were watching SmackDown last night. But after beating Brock Cain Velasquez, Rey Mysterio beat up Brock with a chair, and Brock wants Rey Mysterio. Which makes sense in the story anyway. You have to play off that Rey Mysterio and Brock Lesnar have a match. You need to do that. But essentially, Brock's upset because given that he's a SmackDown contracted wrestler and Rey is contracted USA Network, the match cannot happen. Now, I'm very aware that Rey Mysterio was essentially around with Cain Velasquez, and as he's been on SmackDown before, but see, technically Cain Velasquez is not technically assigned to either brand yet. So, and I guess due to building Crown Jewel, was probably the last thing before the new reset happens. Because outside of Rey Mysterio, there really has not been a lot of things showing up on either show since the draft. And Rey Mysterio was just for this thing of Cain Velasquez. I don't know why he was needed in it, but whatever. Anyway, so Brock gets angry about that he can't get Rey that way, and he ups and quits SmackDown to go back to Raw, which means that we swap the titles. Fine. So there's at least a storyline reason for when Brock shows up on Raw Monday night. So that's fine. Now, if you can just quit the show you're drafted to, that opens up some interesting can of worms in the storyline about this, but whatever. And technically, USA would be dumb, technically, not to sign Brock Lesnar, given he just quit SmackDown as a free agent, but whatever. But as Brock's leaving, we then pan over, and we see Triple H and Shawn Michaels just standing there like, Brock's gone. And then you start thinking in your head that something big's about to happen. So we go to our first match. SmackDown Women's Championship match as Bayley defends against Nikki Cross. Well, it was scheduled to be a 6-woman tag match in which Bayley teamed with Fire and Desire to take on Nikki Cross and Carmella and Dana Brooke. They made it into this women's title match. A really good match here between Bayley and Nikki, which I knew it would be. This would be a really good match. Sasha Banks, got involved. She pushed Nikki off the top rope, and then Bayley used her indie finisher, which was on when she was Davina Rose on the independent scene. And Bayley won the match. But then, out of the crowd comes Shayna Baszler, the NXT Women's Champion. And given that NXT, and then you start seeing a thing here. And Shayna Baszler, she ring posts Sasha Banks. She gets rid of Nikki Cross. I think she throws over the announce table, which Nikki Cross's foot hits Renee Young in the face. And then Aiden English just disappears after this. And then Shayna Baszler takes out Bayley, and then she leads back through the crowd. That was a really good segment. No problem here. So then, we got our next thing, and now Pat McAfee has shown up. Pat McAfee has shown up the guy who is basically known as the guy who does NXT takeover kickoff shows, and he's here to be basically an NXT homer, and he does his job really good. He's really good at this role on commentary. So we cut back to Kathy Kelly, who is interviewing because Kayla Braxton is ring announcing since Greg Hamilton was stuck in Saudi Arabia. And she's interviewing Sami Zayn, who's like, well, you know, if the NXT wants to be here, I'm not picking fire or anything, but they might find something out. And as Sami goes to leave, he runs into Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. And he's trying to tell him, like, you know, I was once called the Heart and Soul of NXT. I even have my NXT t-shirt on. And he opens up his jacket, and it's just a plain white shirt, and it's just a plain black shirt, which Matt Riddle just says, hey, it's a plain black shirt, bro. And then Sami tells him some story that they aren't buying about he had his NXT shirt and he got like salad dressing on it. And he says it's out in his car, but not to follow him. And of course, Matt Riddle and Keith Lee do. And they make it to the ring. And Sami eats a Bro Derek from Matt Riddle and a moonsault from Keith Lee. So, really good segment here. So then Daniel Bryan is walking he's walking to the backstage and he runs into Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And he's saying, hey, you want to fight? You want to fight? You want to fight? And he's challenging Triple H. But Triple H's like, nah, I don't have my gear. But I know someone else who wants to fight you. And you see Shawn Michaels is taking off his NXT garb and his jacket. But he just said, oh, that was cold in here. But that got a pop just to tease this possible ability of Shawn Michaels-Daniel Bryan match that they were teasing. But then Triple H brings out Adam Cole, the NXT champion, and we have our main event set for Daniel Bryan versus Adam Cole, and as an added factor, the NXT championship is on the line. So then, we have Miz TV, and The Miz was supposed to interview Bray Wyatt outside of the Firefly Funhouse, which, given Bray's never been outside of the Firefly Funhouse, would have been a very interesting segment, quite frankly. But since he's not there, Miz is going to introduce himself, but he doesn't get the chance to, as he's interrupted by Tommaso Ciampa, who says that The Miz is playing a part, and Tommaso Ciampa broke his neck for everything, and that he is the greatest entertainer, that he is the part. And that leads to Tommaso Ciampa versus The Miz in another really good match. Tommaso Ciampa ends up winning with the fairy tale ending completely clean. Now, he probably should have hit Miz with his crutch and whatnot, just do a little bit of damage, but still great match, and good thing here. So then we come back from commercial, Fire Desire in the ring. They're set to have a tag match with Dana Brooke and Carmella. And Carmella's music is playing, but you don't see Carmella. We cut to the back, and we see Bianca Belair has beat up Carmella, and she's in the process of beating up Dana Brooke. Takes Dana Brooke out, press slams Carmella over her head and over some boxes back there onto a crash pad, but you didn't see it, and it was a really cool spot. So, without having any opponents, out come Rhea Ripley and Tegan Nox, who, well, they are teaming at War Games in that Women's War Games match, and they take on Fire Desire, and this is a squash match. Rhea makes Mandy Rose tap out with her inverted hanging Texas Cloverleaf thing, so good deal there. So then we get our main event, the NXT Championship match, as it's Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan, the NXT Championship match, Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan. Great match here. Cole ends up hitting the Panama Sunrise in the last shot and beats Daniel Bryan completely 100% clean. So NXT wins 3 matches, all clean. And then Triple H gets on the microphone and says, and he basically is declaring war on both Raw and SmackDown, since NXT is now involved in Survivor Series. So this was a really good show. Booked on the fly as WWE had travel issues. So when they want to be when they need to be creative, they prove they still can be. And now you've actually got me intrigued to watch Raw. Now Grand Raw may not be as good, but you at least got me intrigued to watch it, which is all you need to do. You need to get the people wanting to watch the show. And if the people want to watch the show, they might watch it. And the SmackDown rating increased 186% from, what was it, just about under 900,000 last week, or just over 900,000 last week, to 2.5 million this week. And keep on, they were on FS1 against a very, very, very well-watched Super Bowl, World Series game. So they had 2.5 million. Now, WWE's not going to sustain this, but it was still an amazing jump that they had. So yeah, got me interested in watching Raw, so it did its job. best SmackDown of the year, best SmackDown with the Fox. So yeah, if you like this video, like button is down there, subscribe button is down there, and thank you for watching. Bye.